unexplained phenomenon refers to the strange occurrence where a petrol pump worker witnesses a particular car pulling up every night around 2 a.m. The car behaves in an unusual manner, which immediately catches the worker's attention. Unlike typical customers, the driver never exits the vehicle or engages with the staff. Instead, the car just appears at the same time and in the same manner each night. The significance of this phenomenon lies in its consistency. Night after night, the car arrives at almost exactly the same hour, creating a repetitive pattern that becomes impossible for the worker to ignore. What makes this situation more puzzling is that the car doesn't appear to have any purpose for stopping at the pump. It doesn't refuel, nor does anyone step out to request any services. This lack of interaction or normal behavior makes the car's presence feel unnatural. This pattern of behavior adds to the sense of mystery. It's not merely an isolated event, but something that keeps happening with such regularity that it becomes difficult to dismiss as a coincidence. The worker is left wondering whether there is a logical explanation behind this strange event. Could the driver be someone with peculiar habits, or is there something more unusual going on? Moreover, the car's appearance at 2 a.m. adds a layer of intrigue. Late at night, when fewer cars are expected to be on the road, the stillness of the surroundings amplifies the car's enigmatic nature. The time itself also adds to the eerie nature of the event. 2 a.m., often referred to as the witching hour, has long been associated with ghostly encounters, heightening the sense that this may not be a normal occurrence. At its core, this phenomenon challenges the worker's understanding of reality, sparking curiosity and unease. Without any clear reason for the car's nightly visits, the event becomes an enduring mystery, leaving the worker searching for answers. The fact that the driver never exits the vehicle creates an eerie, unsettling atmosphere. This behavior stands out because, in most ordinary situations, drivers stop at petrol stations to refuel, stretch, or use the services. However, in this case, the driver's refusal to engage in any typical actions heightens the sense of strangeness surrounding the event. The lack of interaction from the driver contributes to the impression that something is profoundly abnormal. It leaves the worker in a state of confusion and growing curiosity. The repeated lack of any visible action by the driver, no rolling down of windows, no words exchanged, feels deliberate, as though it is meant to avoid any direct human contact. This silence from the driver could symbolize something otherworldly, as if the figure behind the wheel is either unable or unwilling to communicate in the usual way. The car stopping, but the driver remaining inside, could also suggest that the driver's presence is not entirely physical. There is a ghostly aspect to the behavior, as it feels almost like a replay of a past event. The lack of response to the worker, the stillness inside the vehicle, and the complete isolation of the figure add to the disturbing ambience. The driver's silence is also a break from the expected norms of human interaction, reinforcing the sensation that this is no ordinary car or driver. The unsettling nature of the driver's silence draws the reader or listener into the narrative, making them question whether this driver is alive or some kind of spectral presence. It implies something is unresolved, as if the driver stuck in an endless loop, visiting the petrol station without purpose. The absence of any explanation deepens the sense of foreboding and makes the story more impactful. The car stays for a few minutes before silently driving away, happening nightly without fail. The behavior of the phantom car builds tension and suspense in the story. The fact that this event occurs every night at exactly the same time introduces an unsettling consistency. This repetitive nature suggests that the event is beyond coincidence, reinforcing the possibility of something supernatural at play. The phantom car's actions follow a strict routine, stopping at the petrol pump without any observable reason. The driver never exits the vehicle, nor does the car's presence seem tied to any purpose like refueling or resting. The stillness of the car, coupled with the absence of any movement from the driver, enhances the mysterious aura surrounding the event. Unlike a regular car that would exhibit human behaviors, such as the driver stepping out or interacting with the environment, the car and its driver behave in a way that defies normal expectations. Another key element of this repetitive behavior is how it heightens the feeling of dread. The worker knows the exact time the car will arrive each night, creating a looming sense of inevitability. This routine adds psychological tension, as the worker becomes aware that they will witness the same eerie sight again and again, night after night, without explanation. Each time the car pulls up and remains motionless, the sense of mystery deepens, as does the worker's unease. Furthermore, the car's silent departure is equally disconcerting. It quietly leaves without any disturbance, avoiding the typical noises associated with a running vehicle. This silence emphasizes the ghostly nature of the car and the driver, almost as though they exist in a realm just beyond the living world. Combined with the car's repetitive visits, this silent, eerie departure blurs the lines between the natural and the supernatural, making the situation more terrifying. When the petrol pump worker first notices the mysterious car showing up night after night at 2 a.m., it seems odd but harmless. After all, people come and go at all hours, especially at a 24-hour petrol station. However, the peculiarity of the situation becomes more apparent with time. The worker starts to realize that this isn't just any routine visitor. There's something unsettling about the way the car pulls up, stays for a few minutes, and then leaves without the driver ever exiting or interacting with anyone. It's as though the car and its driver are in their own world, oblivious to their surroundings. At first, the worker may brush off the encounters as coincidence or perhaps an odd habit of a local customer. Still, over time, this repetitive behavior becomes hard to ignore. After seeing the same car arrive at precisely the same time each night, and with the driver never leaving the vehicle, the worker's curiosity grows. What started as a minor observation now feels like a mystery that demands an explanation. The silence surrounding the car, its stillness, and the late-night timing add a layer of unease to the worker's otherwise routine job. Eventually, the worker can't keep these thoughts to themselves any longer. The compulsion to mention it to someone, perhaps out of both curiosity and slight apprehension, becomes too strong to resist. So they approach their manager, seeking clarification or perhaps even reassurance. Maybe they're hoping there's a simple, rational explanation that they've overlooked. By bringing it up, they hope to either confirm their suspicions or dismiss the entire ordeal as a figment of their imagination. The worker's concern is now not just about the odd car, but about understanding whether what they're witnessing is part of a deeper mystery, something that might be stranger than they initially thought. The focus is on the chilling revelation that the mysterious car observed by the petrol pump worker was involved in a fatal accident years ago. This discovery transforms what initially seemed like a strange but harmless occurrence into something far more sinister. The car is no longer just an oddity that arrives at 2 a.m. It is now tied to a tragic past, creating a sense of unease for both the worker and the reader. The revelation serves as a turning point in the story, shifting the narrative from curiosity to fear. It forces the worker, and by extension the audience, to reconsider everything they've witnessed. Knowing that the car has a connection to death opens the door to the possibility that the driver could be a ghost, or that the car itself is a haunted object, replaying a part of its final moments before the fatal crash. This creates an eerie parallel between the present and the past, where time seems to have collapsed for this ghostly vehicle. This discovery also raises unsettling questions. Is the car somehow reliving the moments leading up to the accident? Is the driver aware of their fate, or are they trapped in a loop doomed to repeat the same actions night after night? Such unanswered questions heighten the fear of the unknown, a classic element in paranormal tales. Additionally, the fact that the manager knew about the car's tragic history, but chose not to inform the worker earlier, creates an atmosphere of secrecy and foreboding. This withholding of information suggests that others may have also encountered the phantom car, but remain silent, either out of fear or resignation. The sense of inevitability tied to this haunting forces the audience to contemplate the possibility of unfinished business, a theme often explored in ghost stories. Whether the car's appearance is a warning, a lost spirit, or something else entirely, its tragic past looms over the present, leaving a lasting impact on everyone involved. The notion of a supernatural connection to the past is a key element in many ghost stories and urban legends, and in the case of the phantom car, it becomes central to the narrative. The manager's revelation that the car had been involved in a fatal crash years ago near the petrol station suggests that the car's nightly visits may be more than just an eerie coincidence. This leads to the possibility that the driver's spirit or the car itself is somehow trapped in a loop, reliving the moments before or after the crash. Such occurrences often draw on the idea of unfinished business or unresolved trauma, where the deceased are unable to move on from the site of their death. The car's repeated presence could symbolize a lingering attachment to the accident, either from the driver's spirit or as a residual haunting. Residual hauntings are believed to be energy imprints left on the environment, where the event replays over and over again, without interaction or awareness of the living world. In some paranormal lore, vehicles are often depicted as haunted objects, especially if they were involved in tragic accidents. The fact that the driver never exits the car implies that they may still be connected to the moment of the crash, unaware of their death. This raises the question of whether the driver is conscious of their situation or merely caught in a loop, forever doomed to relive their final moments. The petrol station workers' interactions with the car also play into a classic haunting scenario, where those involved witness the ghostly phenomenon but are powerless to intervene or change the course of events. The late-night timing of the car's appearance adds to the supernatural atmosphere, as nighttime is often associated with ghostly occurrences. Overall, the phantom car serves as a chilling reminder of the thin boundary between the living and the dead, where past tragedies might still hold sway over the present. The atmosphere in any mysterious or paranormal story plays a crucial role in shaping the narrative. In this case, the late-night setting heightens the tension, evoking a sense of unease and uncertainty. The petrol station, typically a mundane and quiet location at night, becomes the backdrop for this unexplained event, making the supernatural elements even more jarring. The stillness of the early morning hours, around 2 a.m., naturally lends itself to a feeling of isolation and vulnerability. The worker, likely alone at the pump, experiences a strange phenomenon in the dead of night, a time often associated with eerie happenings and ghostly sightings. The fact that the car arrives every night at the same time enhances the eeriness of the situation. The regularity of its visits contrasts sharply with the oddness of the event. Each night, the worker anticipates the arrival of the mysterious car, creating a growing sense of dread. The longer the strange behavior continues, the more unsettling it becomes for the worker. There's a quiet tension that builds as each encounter raises more questions and heightens the worker's fear. Additionally, the idea of a car pulling up but the driver never exiting adds to the surreal feeling. Petrol stations are usually places of interaction, where customers step out to refuel or pay. The absence of such normal behavior from the driver introduces a break from the expected, deepening the unsettling mood. In the stillness of the night, every unusual detail, like the driver's silence, stands out more starkly. Moreover, night hours often evoke feelings of fear and anxiety because of the lack of visibility and the human instinct to feel more vulnerable when it's dark. In the quiet of the night, the strange car becomes an ominous presence, its ghostly reputation lingering as a possibility in the worker's mind, deepening the psychological tension. On the paranormal side, the recurring appearance of the same car at exactly 2 a.m. suggests a haunting or ghostly presence. Ghost stories often involve spirits tied to the location of their death or a significant event. In this case, the car could represent the lingering spirit of the driver who perished in the crash years ago. The repetition of the same actions minus arriving at the petrol station, pausing, and then driving away fits with the idea of a residual haunting, where a spirit or energy replays a tragic event. This haunting may be unresolved because the spirit is unable to move on, possibly due to unfinished business or the suddenness of the fatal crash. It could evoke sympathy or fear in those who witness it, depending on how they interpret the event. Psychologically, the story could be interpreted as a manifestation of the worker's fatigue or stress. Working late nights alone at a petrol station can be mentally draining, especially in an isolated area with little human interaction. In such an environment, the mind can easily play tricks, creating illusions or misinterpreting ordinary events. The worker may be subconsciously aware of the tragic accident, and this knowledge could influence their perception, making them more susceptible to seeing something that isn't there, like the phantom car. In this interpretation, the car's nightly visits may reflect the worker's growing sense of isolation, anxiety, or even guilt over the event, whether they were directly involved or not. Ultimately, the story leaves the question open. Is the car a manifestation of unresolved supernatural energy, or is it a projection of the worker's overactive mind in a stressful situation? Both interpretations create a sense of mystery, tapping into universal fears of the unknown and the tricks that our minds can play on us in moments of vulnerability. Urban legends like this one often emerge from a specific location, enhancing their authenticity and resonance within a community. The petrol pump setting provides a relatable backdrop, as many people can identify with the experience of late-night gas stations. This familiarity fosters a sense of connection and makes the story more engaging as individuals recount their experiences or share tales about the phantom vehicle. They contribute to the narrative's evolution, adding personal interpretations and embellishments that further entrench it in local folklore. Additionally, the phantom car serves as a metaphor for unresolved grief and tragedy. The driver, forever trapped in a cycle of visiting the petrol station, symbolizes those who remain tied to their past. The car, a relic of a fatal accident, acts as a poignant reminder of mortality and the impact of sudden loss. This element of the story resonates deeply prompting listeners to reflect on their own experiences with loss and the ways in which people cope with the specters of the past. Moreover, the story challenges the boundary between reality and the supernatural. While the petrol pump worker may initially view the car's nightly appearances with skepticism, the revelation of the car's tragic history shifts their perspective. This transformation illustrates how fear and curiosity can coexist, often leading individuals to question their understanding of the world around them. The narrative leaves room for interpretation, inviting listeners to consider whether the car's presence is genuinely supernatural or a product of psychological strain, such as exhaustion or stress. Ultimately, the phantom car exemplifies how urban legends can serve as mirrors to society, reflecting collective anxieties while igniting the imagination. Through this story, we explore themes of loss, the supernatural, and the human condition, allowing the narrative to transcend mere entertainment and delve into deeper psychological and emotional territories.